Hey new law students, in this video today I'll be diving into one of the most essential skills that you'll be developing during your legal studies, and that is how to read a case. So if you're a new law student and you're confronted with a 20-page judgment or maybe a 100-page judgment and you're wondering where to start and how to read it, then this video is for you. Because in this video, I'm going to be sharing a simple framework, a simple 4-step process on how to navigate and how to read cases. So let's go. The first thing I want to share with you, though, is an overview of my 4-step framework to reading a case. And then what I'll do is I'll jump into each of these steps to give you more explanation and maybe some examples. So in step 1, I have here that it's really important that you understand why you are reading the case. What is the purpose of reading this particular case? In step 2, I suggest you then locate a case summary written by someone else, usually by a subject matter expert, and hopefully your case summary will also include what we know as the IRAC model. And then in step 3, you then strategically read the case, and I'll give you some tips on how to do that. And then in step 4, for some of your cases, you will then need to do more detailed reading. All right, so that's a really quick overview of the 4 steps. So let's now jump in to have a look at step 1 in more detail. In step 1, what I suggest you do is that you spend some time trying to identify and understand why is it that you are reading a particular case. So has your lecturer or your learning materials listed this case as one of the key cases for the semester? Now, if they have, then yes, you will need to understand exactly where it sits in your learning curriculum and in your study notes. So what area of law in particular is this case about? Is it a pivotal case that maybe holds a precedent for a particular area of law? Is it a case that might have a minority dissenting judgment that becomes a majority judgment in a following case and therefore demonstrates how the law evolves over time? So there can be many reasons why a lecturer decides to select particular cases and add that to the learning curriculum. So this step here is really about putting on your investigator's hat on and trying to get into the mind of your lecturer and the instructional designers at your university who design the learning curriculum, and try and work out exactly what were they thinking about this case. Why did they want to use this case in the learning? What is this case trying to teach? And what is it that they want law students to walk away with from this particular case? All right, so have a go at thinking through some of those questions in step 1. So moving on to step 2, this is where I suggest you locate and read a few case summaries written by other experts. So to do that, of course, you could go to your textbook and hopefully you'll find some case summaries or commentary around the particular case. And also I suggest you go to your legal research databases that your university has provided you access to. So for example, where I studied, I had access to Westlaw Australia and also LexisNexis and a few other legal research databases. So you might have something quite similar to that, where you can access both primary and secondary sources of information around a particular case. So I always recommend that you start off looking at secondary sources first, such as your textbook and other legal textbooks. Also have a look on your legal research databases. So there might be some legal journals, legal encyclopedias, and so on as well that may touch on and point towards this particular case as well. So definitely try and look at a couple of different case summaries written by different subject matter experts, and you will start to see some common themes coming through when you look at some analysis done by other experts, and you'll see some trends in there. Now, what you can also do when you're pulling out and looking at other case summaries by other experts is you're also identifying what the IRAC is. So you're just making sure that you're clear around, for this particular case, what was the legal issue that the court was looking at, and then what was the rule or the ratio that they applied, and also for application, how did they apply the rule to the facts in the case, and then what was the conclusion, so what was the decision held. I think it's also very helpful to write your own case summary as well, and that will be refined if you need to then do further detailed research around that particular case, and you'll find that you'll have your own case summary in your own words, and then that will be tailored to your learning curriculum and the key points that's going to be most important for your assessments and exams. All right, let's now move on to step 3, which is all about doing some strategic reading of the case. So this is where you'll be looking for selective information from the case. So what do I mean by that? Well, here's a few things for you to look at. So what I suggest you do is, first of all, see which court this particular case is in, and we can see in our example here, this is in the High Court of Australia. So then the next question I would be asking myself is, where is it on appeal from? And I can see here it's on appeal from the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Then confirm that you identify who the parties are. So we can see here that Cadelpha Construction Proprietary Limited is the appellant, and State Rail Authority of New South Wales is the respondent. Then you look at the dates, and we can see that here over on the right hand side, and you can also see who the judges are. Then what I suggest you do is you look at the head notes or the catchwords, which are often at the beginning of the case, and these will end up being your best friends. However, as you know, we cannot over-rely on our best friends, because if we do, that can cause some problems. So yes, your head notes and your catchwords and catchphrases at the beginning of a case are amazing, because they will provide you a very short and succinct summary and outline of what this case is about. So very powerful, very helpful information, but that does not mean that you do not need to read any further. Now, before we do move on though, what you would also do here at step 3 is that you also want to see, well, what was the decision? What was held by the court? And quite often that information is towards the beginning of the case document. So if it's not there, then maybe have a look at the end of the case document. The other thing you can also do at step 3 here is do some strategic or selective reading throughout the document. Maybe have a look at a few of the initial sentences at the beginning of some of the paragraphs, and just glance your eye over the rest of the document. All right, so that's about it at step 3. And moving on to step 4, if you've made it this far, then obviously you've decided, as you've gone through steps 1 to 3, that a particular case requires much more in-depth reading. So that's fantastic that you've been able to narrow down which cases you can conduct more strategic reading and rely on some secondary sources to pull out the key points. And you've also decided on which cases you need to conduct much more in-depth reading of the entire case. Okay, so just a few things to mention in step 4, and that is just to make sure that you've looked at the different judgments from the case and that you have an understanding of what the majority decisions were and their rationale for their decision, but you've also looked at the dissenting judgments and what their rationale and their arguments were. So now what you need to do is to go through, and you'll find that as you read each of the judgments, you'll find that there highly likely will be a pattern to the information. So you may find that they all provide a summary of the facts. They may then discuss any procedural history, and then they may discuss the ratio and also their rationale and their reasoning. And then what you'll also need to be very conscious of is, are there any longer term impacts to the evolution of the law as a result of this case? So that concludes my video today on how to read cases at law school. I hope you've picked up a few extra tips and skills and insights on how to read and navigate cases during law school. It's a pretty tough skill to develop and it may take some time, so don't be too hard on yourself. But the earlier you can start applying some methodology and some reasoning around how to approach your cases, then the sooner you're going to develop and become quite competent in getting through large volumes of cases, to different degrees, of course. Anyway, I'll see you next time.